Hey, good morning, everybody. Sammy Thunder here. Welcome back to the For Collectors channel. As you could tell by the description and the title of this video, it is going to be about changing your vintage baseball card collection. Have you ever thought about it? Have you ever considered, I want to I want to start this, I want to do this, so I want to, start buying some of these cards. I definitely have been in that position and am currently in that position. I think it's natural that there's an evolution of collectors that go from one thing to the next. And sometimes that could be the start and the end point of a new project. And I know a number of guys that have done it that way. Um, when they go to baseball card shows, they are on a mission. They have their list of what they want, and they go in and they try to find items that they can add to that list, especially set builders. Let's talk about set builders. Set builders, they have their lists, especially the older folks that are building their sets. They have their list, they have the numbers that they want, and they kind of just go through. They take a seat and they go to those tables that have endless books of different sets of different years, and they just start crossing off. And I definitely have also been in that position where I have a 1965 set I'm building, a 1969 set I'm building, a 1959 set I'm building. And I'll sit down with these guys and I'll start going through these books and seeing, just trying, and what's amazing about this is even though we're all in it together to, try to build our sets, even then there's preferences. So you might have two guys that are building 1959 sets. One guy is looking for exclusively excellent or better. The other guy is looking for beaters and better. So really, two different scales. And so even then, it gets into the nitty gritty details of it. There's many differences, and that's just, with set building, that's one thing. And that's there are collectors that exclusively focus on set building, and I've been in that position before. And for me personally, it requires a lot of patience. I'm not as patient as some others, so I've changed my collection, I've changed my mentality on that, and I've since sold a lot of those sets off. And the idea is excuse me, the idea is that I sell those sets off to then invest it or put it into another project, another uh, set of not a set, but another list of items that I want in my collection. I could move on to player collecting. I want to try to get the entire run of some of these guys in their traditional cards, all the tops. I want to get all the tops guys. I want to get Willie Mays. I want to get all of his tops cards. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to complete it, but that's okay because I had a really great time doing it. And it was a project that I thought that was really fun to find: the 54 tops, the 55 tops, 56 tops, 57. And I think I was able to get from 54, and I was able to finish everything. And the only things that were missing was the 52 and the 53. I didn't get the 53 but I did get the 52. And then when then my thought process changed again. And it wasn't until the National. When I went to the National this year, I was picking up all of these key rookie cards. I picked up a Clemente 55 tops. Excuse me. I picked up a Willie Mays 52 tops. And I started picking up an assortment. Those were my two big ones. But then I started picking up an assortment of tops cards. And it wasn't until some of those YouTube meetups that I started noticing what some of these other guys are picking up. Now, I was rooming with Dom's David Sports Cards, and I have to give Dom a lot of credit here because he helped me kind of open my eyes a little bit to what some of these other guys were doing. Now, I can't speak on what their preferences are or how they go about their collecting, because again, everybody's different. I don't know if they're selling to collect, which is what I do. I sell to collect. I consolidate the items that I want to keep and I sell the rest off. And it's just been an ongoing process. Anyway, but going back to these guys, I can't speak on how they're doing it. I don't know if they're putting more and more and more money into their collections and keeping what they've gathered so far, or if they're selling to collect like myself. Nevertheless, when I was with Dom, we went to those YouTube meetups, and I'd be seeing what these guys were showing each other, because that's really what it was all about. So we go there, we bring what we purchased, and we just show it off, and we get the oohs and ahs, and we get the admiration, and it's such a good feeling. It is nothing feels better than going into a place, sitting with a group of guys, uh, all content creators, and saying, "Hey, I went to this table and I picked up. I didn't pick any of these up at the National, but I'll just show it off. I picked up this 1949 Leafs Premium, and you know, get the oohs and ahs, the admiration, and then the next person would go and say, "Hey, I picked this up at this table and this table," and the discussion would just kind of springboard from there into, "I'm looking for this," and somebody would say, "Hey, well, you can go to this table. I saw this for this price," and we all helped each other out. But getting back to the point, I was mentioning that uh, what these guys were picking up were the unique stuff, the stuff that maybe other collectors would overlook. Have you ever gone to a baseball card show and you notice one thing, the one pattern that you notice practically on every table? I'm not going to say every table, but a lot of tables. And you see this at the National, you see this at these big shows like the Philly show, the show in the county center in White Plains, um, the Jim Ryan shows. You'll see them there too. A lot of these big time dealers will have the same 53 Mantle, 55 Mays, 54 Mays, 56 Clemente, 57 Frank Robinson. All of these great, great cards are more readily available than you think. And I'm not saying, I don't want to say they're not rare, or I don't want to say they're rare, but I also don't want to say they're not rare, because it's all subjective. But if you look at it this way, a PSA 8 or 9 of a 57 Frank Robinson is not as common as as you would think it is, compared to maybe like a 3.5. You could probably find this card pretty often. But that's the thing, is that at the National, a 55 Clemente, there's so many tables. You don't have to jump on the first option possible. Every table has one. There's more than enough for a lot of guys that were there looking for a 55 Clemente. So getting back to those YouTube meetups, the guys that I was seeing, this is my personal experience as far as pivoting my collection, what inspired me to pivot my collection. Seeing what Dom was picking up, seeing what Mangini was picking up, seeing what Theo was picking up, seeing what Matt was picking up, seeing what these guys were buying. Wade Boggs fan, John, what he was buying. Dylan, Double D Vintage Baseball Cards. All these guys were buying some really off-the-wall stuff, unique stuff, rare stuff that you will not see too often. And not to say that, Frank Robinson or the 69 bench or the 66 batting leader, or the the batting leaders. Not to say these cards are not credible or not admirable. They are. But there's something to be said about finding something that has a low pop account, and it's a treasure hunt. That's what it feels like. It is a treasure hunt. So finding something like a 49 Leafs Premium. This one I think has a pop account of like 10 with PSA. That's what Orlando mentioned, because I traded my Koufax rookie to Orlando for this. I also gave him $250 kicker as well, but I had a SGC 3 Sandy Koufax rookie 55, and my focus was shifting over from buying rookies into buying really special and unique items that you just don't see too often. You won't see this too often at a show. You might see them raw, but not that often. Leaf premiums, I'm going to do a separate video on this on my own channel, which at some point I will share that with you, that information with you. I'll go over the trade that happened, the whole 9 yards, and it all happened here. Another interesting item that you don't see too often at shows, but it's not that it's rare. It's just that this is a big topic of debate, and maybe y'all can chime in on this. I'll give you my theory on this, and y'all can get this is a little side analysis outside of pivoting. You're changing your collection, but this I changed my I was changing my collection to buy these rulers, and this was a big purchase for me. This is a $400 item. This is how much I paid for it. It's Lou Essendor. It's his first year. Now, you go to a show, you go to your local show with 40, 50 tables, you're probably not going to see this. If you go to a regional show, you may find five, like out of the 100 or 200 tables, you might find 5 or 6 that have this. If you go to the national, double that, maybe triple that number. I don't know. Long story short, why is it that rulers do not command the same presence or just are you don't really see them too often? Is it because one, dealers don't want to waste space with this big clunky slab? Or two, is it just that not that many people cared about them? They're not desirable. I think there are. And I've seen them sell. So I don't know. But that's a whole other topic. Again, but that's an item that is unique and maybe not rare, but unique. But long story short, the National inspired me to change my collection again from being a set builder to a player collector to now being a narrow player collector. And there are some traditional cards that I do keep. Like I keep my 52 maze. I'm going to keep my 52 maze. I'm going to keep my 54 maze because the 54 maze in particular, I love the design. My preferences, I look for the design of the card. I look for the style of it and how, just how it presents. I don't want something that looks boring because why spend $2,000, $3,000 on something that just doesn't have a lot of appeal to it? Not so much appeal as far as condition, but appeal as far as just the design, the concept, what went into making that card or printing that card. So I love the Mathewson. This is my entry. This is my entrance into the Mathewson world, and I started building a nice collection of Mathewson stuff. And so I'll give an example of something that great design concept is. Sorry, the lighting is not great. Let me see if I can take this out. But this is something that you don't see too often. I did a search on eBay. I don't think I found too many of these. These are the Propaganda Montiel, Christy Mathewson. Found this online on a Discord group I belong to. And it's a great card. Didn't cost too much. But it's another, unique item that just happened to stumble upon. I think ultimately, and I'm going to round this out, I'm going to finish this up here. There's no right or wrong way to collect. I personally think changing your collection is evolving, is inevitable. I think everybody goes through it. It's just a matter of how often it happens. Guys start projects, they end projects, and they start new ones. There are some guys who kind of just stay focused on a particular aspect, and it could be certain lifelong projects that cannot be achievable overnight, and it takes forever. And I think ultimately the point of this video is to talk about: is it okay to change your collection? Is it okay to evolve? Absolutely. I think it's perfectly reasonable to evolve and find new things that you enjoy. How you do it is entirely up to you. Like I said before, I sell to collect. I sell items that I'm ready to move on from in order to put it into something else. Greg from Midlife Sports Cards was asking that same question. Is it okay to sell a collection for your Grail card? Yeah, Absolutely. If you're ready to move on from items in your collection and you want to sell it to purchase something else, of course, don't let anybody stop you from doing that. That's you're don't let anybody put you down for evolving the way you want to evolve in your collection. Everybody, like I mentioned, everybody has preferences. There's no right or wrong way. And yeah, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to discuss. Let me know if you have any thoughts on this in the comments. Create some dialogue, talk a little bit more about it. But for now, thank you so much for watching this video. If this is your first video, definitely hit the subscribe button and the notification bell and as well as the like button to support this video and to get it to be seen by a lot others. But until then, my name is Sammy Thunder. You're watching For Collectors, For Collectors. Have a great and safe rest of your holiday and take care.